Mr. Chairman, colleagues, thank you so much for your work here on the Rules Committee. Seems like a thankless job, so you should have plenty of job security here. Look, this is a passionate topic, so I've got two amendments. One is fairly incremental. It passed by voice last Congress. It's titled the Confess Your Transgressions Amendment. And I think it gets to the heart of what a lot of us feel, frankly, whether it's Debbie Lesko's district or Donna Shalala's or Mr. McGovern's, Mr. Cole's, mine, or yours, we probably get similar questions. When is someone going to jail? The reality is, as has been highlighted, there are already things that have been transgressed, whether they rise to the level of something that should be charged, prosecuted, or not. We really rarely learn of them. The Director of National Intelligence is already required to submit an annual report to the Intel Committee. My amendment wouldn't make that public. It would make it so that that report would contain disciplinary action. So it would say any disciplinary action taken against an employee of the United States government relating to mishandling information acquired under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. This amendment applies retroactively, and it includes foreign intelligence surveillance court-ordered requirements, administrative procedures for mishandling data. So again, it passed by voice last Congress in the House, and it did not survive its path through the Senate. It's a good amendment. It simply says what we all want to know is that somebody is actually being held accountable, and it could be that John Doe simply was on the job for 2 weeks and accessed the information inappropriately, and so he was given additional training. It could be that it was more malicious than that, and there was a disciplinary suspension. It could be that it was terminated. It could be it was reassigned, or it could be that there's actually a criminal prosecution under the way. And the reality is, since there are humans in these agencies, we would be surprised to find that there was nobody that transgressed the law. The reality is that right now, CIA and NSA report when data is mishandled, but Congress has no idea what these organizations do to actually prevent their employees from abusing their power or positions of trust. Congress needs to make sure that federal agencies who use FISA are disciplining officials who abuse their power. So that's that amendment. Any questions about that one?
We just go through all of them. Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is, because there's a lot of passion on this, and frankly, the committee process has been violated, and the proposal is that we go with a closed rule. We already saw that the original bill that Chairman Nadler intended to go to committee with had to be withdrawn. It's not clear that the rule will pass to me. I don't know how Democrats do it, but I've seen rules fail when Republicans were leading, and I know you all wouldn't want that to happen. So safe to say Republicans are probably already opposed to the bill. But, Mrs. Torres highlights legitimate political concerns. No one likes to see a bill that is the Politician Protection Act or something along those lines. And so because this gets to the heart of one of the vital things that we do as a country, the trade-offs between security and liberty, I've offered an amendment that would reauthorize the roving wiretaps provision, which is a concession. As our colleague, Mr. Gohmert, highlight, the Fourth Amendment requires specificity and name a place and purpose for the search. And this basically says, no, we get it. People are using burner phones, changing it. We want to know that this is the target. We're just searching whatever this person may access. So it reauthorizes that for 3 years, but it lets, and the lone wolf provisions for 3 years, but it lets the 215 provision lapse. It could always be taken up again, but it would keep the essential element of the FISA court intact while we continue to do our duty and debate it. I guess I'd last like to read, for the benefit of application here, a brief poem by Mr. Frost, Robert Frost. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as far as for that, the passing there had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, and leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, 2 words diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. and that has made all the difference. I think this body takes the road less traveled by. Our founders intended for us to defend freedom, to defend liberty, and frankly, we relentlessly sacrifice them for the other road of security. So I urge your diligent consideration of my amendment in the nature of a substitute. Recognizing how autonomous the Rules Committee is, I anticipate the outcome on that. But I would like your careful consideration of the Confess Your Transgressions Amendment, whether it's adopted by structure in here or we have a more open process and an opportunity to vote for it on the floor. I think it would substantially improve the bill and get to the heart of, is anybody actually ever going to be held accountable?